Okay, so let's talk about something real. If you've ever stared at a blank page or felt that crushing weight of expectation, maybe even wondered if your best work is already behind you, well, this is for you. We're going to look at a pretty radical way to rethink all that creative pressure, and it comes from the incredible wisdom of author Elizabeth Gilbert. The idea is to shift from trying to be a genius to simply having one. And believe it or not, the key to this whole thing starts with an amazing story about a poet who was literally chased by her poems. So get this. This is how the great American poet Ruth Stone described her creative process. She didn't just sit at a desk hoping for inspiration to strike. Nope. She said inspiration came hunting for her, and it sounded like a force of nature. And she wasn't being poetic about that either. She meant it literally. When a poem was coming, she felt it chasing her. She had to drop whatever she was doing and just run. What's so fascinating about this story is that it points to this ancient, kind of forgotten way of thinking about creativity. The idea that it's not something that comes from within us, but that it's this external force that we get to partner with. So in her mind, her job wasn't to invent a poem out of thin air. It was to be a conduit. She had to be ready to just collect it as it passed through her. And here's the kicker. If she failed, if she was too slow, the poem just moved on. It wasn't a personal failure. It was just a missed connection. And that one tiny distinction, well, that's the secret to getting out from under all that pressure we put on ourselves. So why don't most of us think like Ruth Stone anymore? Why do so many of us creators struggle with anxiety and burnout and that awful imposter syndrome? Well, it's because somewhere down the line, we completely changed the job description for genius. For centuries, nobody thought they were a genius. Instead, people believed they had a genius, like an external, maybe even divine spirit that helped them with their work. But then the Renaissance came along, and with it, this new idea that the individual human was the center of everything. So we took creativity and we shoved it inside of us. And in doing that, we put this impossible burden on ourselves. We decided one person had to be the source, the vessel, and the magic, all at once. And this slide just nails the difference perfectly. On the left, being a genius, that's where most of us live. The pressure is absolutely crushing. Failure feels like a deep personal flaw. And success? It's awesome. But man, it just raises the stakes for next time. But look at the right side, having a genius. Here the pressure is shared. Failure just means your muse didn't show up that day. And success feels like this wonderful partnership. It's a much more sustainable and honestly, a much more sane way to live. So what's the antidote to all this creative anxiety? It's right there. It's adopting this ancient perspective as a really powerful psychological tool. It's about giving yourself permission to have a little help from the universe. Elizabeth Gilbert uses this wonderful metaphor from the ancient Romans. Your genius isn't you, it's more like a little house elf that lives in the walls of your studio. It's this quirky, separate being that comes out and helps you. It's not your servant, and you're not its master. You're partners. And this is where the real power of this mindset kicks in. It works like a psychological buffer. It protects you from that soul-crushing despair when things go wrong because, hey, your genius was just out that day. But it also protects you from crippling narcissism when things go right because you know you had a little help. This is the core message right here. It's this huge shift from carrying the entire weight of creation on your shoulders to just being a willing, active partner in a creative dance. Your job changes from being brilliant to just being available for brilliance to show up. Okay, but if creativity is a partnership, that means we still have a part to play, right? We can't just sit back and wait. We have some responsibilities in this collaboration. So what exactly is our side of the bargain? Gilbert says, our side of the deal doesn't require waiting for some lightning bolt of passion to hit us. It actually boils down to 3 much simpler, much more doable steps. First, just follow your curiosity. Passion can be really intense and it can burn out fast, but curiosity just kind of gently asks, hey, is there anything you're interested in? It's a much kinder guide. Second, don't try to get rid of fear. Just acknowledge it's there to protect you, thank it for its concern, and then get back to work. And finally, finish the work. Perfectionism will keep you stuck forever. Done is better than perfect. That's a mantra to live by. So, you follow your curiosity, you make space for your fear, and you finish your work. But Gilbert argues there is one single, non-negotiable thing you have to do to hold up your end of the deal and keep your creative partner, your genius, engaged. So what is it? What's the one thing this entire creative partnership really depends on? That's it. 2 words. You show up. That is the non-negotiable part of the contract.
You have to be at your post, you have to be ready consistently, whether you feel inspired or not.
So here's the big takeaway. Your job is not to be brilliant every single day. Your job is simply to be present for the work. Some days your genius will show up and it will feel like absolute magic. Other days it won't and it's going to be a real slog. But you work either way. You uphold your side of the bargain. You show up. And when you do that, you prove to your genius, and maybe more importantly to yourself, that you are serious about this collaboration.